Hey guys, welcome to day 3 of the show. It's been really busy here on our stand, but we're going to do a quick walk around and see some of our favourite cars here today. Okay, so here we've got Renault Aventine.
One of my favourites.
This is Danny's of Practical Classics, and a really nice car, some lovely features on it. Quite cheap at the moment, and I think a real future classic to be.
And who doesn't want a people carrier with only 2 doors to get in and out
Exactly. Okay, Ben, so childhood memories.
Yep, one of my favourites, just because we used to have one.
The Freelander.
And it was like one
car.
of my favourite cars we've ever had, but it did die, really.
Yeah, but we drove it home without a clutch.
We did.
We had a wheel bearing almost fail in Cornwall and still got us home to the Midlands.
Exactly. And it was a really nice spec car. It had the sunroof, the full leathers.
It was
heated
GS.
seats. It was actually our first car in the family with heated seats.
Yeah,
really and it was the cheapest one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it wouldn't be the show without a shout out to the Jaguar Club. Always probably one of the most active stands at the Resto show, always rebuilding cars.
And have helped us out in the past.
And have helped us out because they've got a welder on stand. They're building ash frames here today, general mechanics on the car. Yeah, lovely Jupiter. So yeah, really good thing. Come and have a chat with them.
And at the end they also have Bruce Gervin's fabric bodied car, which was at the VSCC New Year's driving test.
There you go, spotting the favourites. And here we go, Fiat 126. Superseded the Fiat 500. Actually, a lot of 500s have got those engines in, including Dad's.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of the 126 is using sort of Abarth heritage, looking at race spec on them. Not sure what wheels they are actually.
No,
they're not 126, are they?
No, but either way, really like them. I never used to, but I do now.
Yeah, quite cool. Now this is absolutely gorgeous. Fully restored Toyota Land Cruiser. In pretty much concours condition. The paintwork is superb in this lovely green colour. What do you think about this one, B?
For me, it's the only other option other than a Defender. It's the only other car that I would ever go for.
Yeah.
In terms of like
actually,
utility vehicles.
This age one, super cool as
Lovely.
well. More than the
really,
modern Freelanders.
Really cool.
Just look at this. Look at the wheels on it. See the hubs to lock the diffs out on it. But look at the finish. I don't think this one's been off-road, despite being spec for it.
He might just clean it a lot, or should.
I think it definitely gets cleaned a lot. So, TR7. Good friend of mine, Daryl's got one of these. Copy of
this livery as well.
In this livery, yeah. Copy of the Tony Pond rally car, I think.
Yeah.
And this is the 2024 British Historic Rally Championship FIA class champion.
Yep, you can read off the windscreen.
I'm really good at reading that. I'm supposed to be knowledgeable on these videos. So I think this one for you, B?
It's a Mr. 2.
A Mr. 2, indeed.
A Mr. 2.
Or an MR2.
Yeah, if you're French.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
And actually this one
Wide arches on it.
It's a lovely colour. And it's got really cool wheels.
And it's got some gloss accents on it as well, which make it really nice.
If you look at the interior, it's pretty serious.
Okay, we're going to have a look at that.
Whoa. Not sure I'd want to come from Scotland to the NEC in those.
Slightly on the hard side. Not sure if you'll see them through the glass actually, but
they've got a lovely Nardi steering wheel as well. You can just about see if the lights... Anyway, take our word for it.
Yeah, nice car anyway. So here we've got the MX-5 Owners Club. Quite an interesting one, and...
Yeah, well, so yesterday I was down at the awards stage because the VSCC got the Club of the Year award, and one of the other award winners were the MX-5 Owners Club for their involvement with young enthusiasts, really.
Which is actually a challenge in the classic car scene. So
it is.
Interesting to all bodies, including VSCC. How do you get youngsters involved in classic car?
But a great car to do that.
And a great car to do that.
As well.
And a good fun car, actually.
Yes.
And I think part of the reason is the recipe of a lot of sort of 1950s, 60s cars like the Frog Eyes, Spitfires, things like that. Similar formula.
Yep, exactly.
So it's actually quite nice to see some modified cars at the show from some of the other scenes that we visit.
Yeah.
So here we've got a mix of Escorts.
Yep.
Mark 1.
Favorite, well, Mark 1,
two,
Mark 2, Mark 2, Mark 3.
Yeah.
And the Mark 2 Here,
That one.
it has got a smooth bumper and everything. So it's you've got the full sort of package of what people are doing to them.
And typical wheels on those cars as well, the sort of wide, small radius wheels, which look really cool.
But these were sort of my childhood dream cars.
Yeah.
Because they were at all the Ford events we were going to at the time, and they were the car to have.
And then some modified German stuff over here.
Exactly.
So we've got a really, really lovely Golf Mark II.
Mark II, exactly, which is on air with some lovely split rims. Then a 944, again on some lovely split rims. And I'm fairly sure that this might be static.
I think there's a fair chance that's the case. But I wouldn't want to go over the bumpies on it.
No, and then I can never remember the name of them.
Yeah, it's a German thing.
It's the Volkswagen beach buggy type, but it's not a beach buggy, but it looks like you'd look really cool in California at the beach.
Absolutely, with your surfboard tucked out
exactly.
the back.
Anyway, one of those, fantastic.
Nice. So here we've got the MG SV Club, the SVRs, which were serious motors. I think they probably took a bit of inspiration from the Lotus Carlton, to be honest, in what they did with them.
Well, I'm always amazed at how small the bonnet is.
It's teeny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go and have a look how they can squeeze it in there. Yeah, that would certainly be difficult to get that in without taking the front end off the car. So I think it was a Rover-based V8 in there, fuel injected, absolute monster. So there you go, Ben. I think that answers the question.
Yeah, pretty much.
Front end comes off, which actually makes it very accessible.
Probably very easy to work on in comparison.
I think so. Let's go and have a close look. What a monster. Not usually a fan of American cars, but this Radio Flyer van's beautiful.
But I do think American commercial vehicles are cool.
That's a good point, actually.
They're always really cool, but the cars I'm not so much a fan of.
Deep dish wheels, lovely paintwork, pretty minimalist, side exit exhaust, the business.
And big V8.
And a big V8. And recent contributors to this shows haven't been here previously, but obviously the Mark's now getting a little bit older. Mini Owners Club with Mini Coopers, John Cooper Works.
Most latterly, the R56.
Yes,
which
nice.
actually makes me feel old because Mum had one and it doesn't feel that long ago.
And you went to school in it.
And now they're in classic car show. However, I love them.
And actually,
as you know, I'm a Mini person.
Nice R53 here as well, which was the ones that I longed after because I couldn't afford a Cooper S, so I only had a Cooper.
I always love seeing the size difference between the original Mini and the newer Minis.
Same with the Fiat 500s.
Well, yeah, because mine is even bigger than that one.
Yeah.
And although I do have an F56, I personally think that this is the best. The R56 of the modern Minis is the best choice, but they're old, as you can tell.
But that's a really nice original Mini as well.
Yeah, no, it is.
I'd definitely pick that one as well.
Yeah.
So this is our stand this year. We've got a really good stand actually, pretty lengthy. We've got 3 racing Pumas on there, Dave's, Ben's and Martin's, and actually Carl's mega Puma Shack van, which is a Courier with a Puma front on it and a racing Puma engine in it. Okay, so here we've got the Megane Coupe, which really, for me, was a bit of a predecessor to Racing Puma. I used to work for the local Renault dealership, delivering these at the time, and they are absolutely great cars, especially the 16 valve, which really had the Williams engine in it, and we used to give them an absolute ragging. So here we've got the Lancaster Pride of Ownership, real mix of cars in here, and it's always a great variety that the owners have, but they all love the cars, so let's go and check a few out. And here we've got an absolutely lovely Mercedes 280 SL Pagoda, beautifully prepared car, really, really clean. Not sure that sees much wet weather, to be honest.
No.
So this is the predecessor to the car that my dad had, which is a 1971 Citroen SM, all on hydraulic suspension, so slam down to the side when they went to the ground when they park, which was really interesting because many a curb was hit as a result of it, that you parked up and it dropped down. Really beautifully styled car, and something at the time.
So much because I just think they're like a spaceship.
Yeah,
when you look at them,
and they were very
profile,
futuristic, which I think, as a budding young architect, was probably why Dad had it. The one that followed it. Really, it was that cool kind of design statement of the time. But yeah, beautiful this one. The enclosed headlamps on the front, and actually if you think about it, that's what most headlamps are like nowadays. Let's just have a quick look in the interior, because that doesn't let you down either. Just look at that, even the chrome tops of the glass when it comes up. really cool. And actually, you know, a lot of modern Mercedes actually don't really top that one. So, Datsun 260?
260, exactly.
Yeah, got it right. So the car that at the time you'd be embarrassed if your mum had got one to take you to school, but actually really retro, quite cool now.
Yeah. But I think that's the thing, isn't it, with a lot of the JDM cars. Once upon a time they weren't so cool, and now that everyone wants them. They're a super cool thing to have. Take the JZX 100s.
Yep.
That they all use as drift cars now in Japan, but they probably weren't so cool.
And the Nissan Fairladies.
Exactly.
Cracking cars. So, Focus RS Mark II, actually a really cool car. I mean, I and Ben remember these when they were new at the likes of Ford Fair, and always thought they were a great car. We had a drive-in one, and they're quick.
It was my dream Ford as well, really.
Well, apart from a Mark 1 Escort.
Yeah, I had a few, but they were the cars that obviously we'd go to the events in the summer, and they were the cars.
The cars.
And like the Puma was cool, but it was always the underdog at that point.
And it was an old car then.
Exactly. Whereas these don't feel that old though.
But they're as old as when we started showing the Puma.
They're older than when we first started.
Yeah.
But you know, the engine's insane in them. You've got people pushing crazy power out of them. They sound brilliant.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes attract a few aspos.
Yeah, but you know, don't all marks.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, and what's interesting on these at the moment is the prices really seem to be stabilising, if not dropping a little bit.
Yep. The one in the auction sold for
22 or 24, something like that.
And I don't think, I might be wrong, but I don't think it was high mileage either.
No, I think it was quite low.
I think it was around 50,000.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the challenge in a car like this, is finding one that hasn't been ragged to death and modified to... although, you know, this one modified, full mount tune kit on it.
this is exactly how you'd want
but
it,
actually
really.
nice. So, Frog Eye Sprite, had one of these with Dad when I was young. Ours was actually this colour originally, although resprayed in Old English white latterly. Had great fun in it. Dad had a full body restoration on it because it was an absolute rock box. But actually, when we first had it, because it was a rock box, we really, really enjoyed it. This particular one's quite a special car.
Yeah, it's a pre-production launch car, which is quite cool.
That's cool.
It's definitely something a bit special that you don't often see. And obviously a really nice finish to it as well. I think that perfect balance of it's very nice and shiny, but it's also still got its original sort of look to it.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of patina to some of it. And I mean, really, the epitome of a sports car at the time. No hood on it. If it rains, you get wet. We used to slide over the back into it and drop down into the seats because you could. Really, really cool. Not much there, just simple things: rev counter, speedo, manual gearbox, no power steering, a choke for youngsters like you to figure out. But
scary.
Cool cars. Yeah, so I really like this 911, and to be honest, one of the looks I'd probably go for if I was building one. Sort of race liveried spec, prepared. Well, it is caged actually, so probably is actually race spec, and it does have names on it as if it's racing. So. But actually really nice, and I think really just shows off the lines of this car.
Yeah, definitely. I would not actually want a standard one. I'd always go for a race prepared one. It's like the ones at Goodwood that we always see. These slightly older ones always going around. They just do it for me.
But no, very, very tasty, this one. Now for me, this is probably the buy of the show. XK150, 3.4 Jaguar V6, straight 6. Really nice car, previous older restoration, so it's got a little bit of patina to it now in really traditional colours with British Racing green with the green wheels, the old sort of aged leather strap on the bonnet giving it that bit of sporting heritage, and 40 grand for this car.
And you just look like you mean business, wouldn't you?
You do, gangster in this car.
Yeah, or gangster / like, you know, business owner.
Yeah, and so Hurst Park Classic Cars if you're interested, but certainly I think of all the cars we've looked at, this would be the one that I would buy, and it's absolutely beautiful. So here we've got the Volvo T5 Club, absolute machines in the day, and actually not one I've encouraged Ben on, but what do you think of them, Ben?
Well, so I love round cars. I've got the Puma, it's quite a round car.
Mini's round?
The Fiat 500 was quite a round car. The Mini is quite a round car. I generally don't like the blocky styling, except from these. I think they're like the most ultimate, brilliant, cool thing ever.
And
5-cylinder.
Your granddad did the Beaujolais run in one of these.
He did, and it's 5-cylinder. They sound brilliant, and they were touring cars.
I think it's the touring car thing
Yeah,
that
it's
does
the
it,
touring
actually.
car thing.
So here we've got the Saab Enthusiast Club. Special filming of this for Nick W, who's a big fan of these. Someone has to be.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I like them personally.
They are quite nice, really.
I really like Saabs.
Actually, look at this one. Oh, it's a pickup.
There you go.
How cool
Even
is that?
better.
Look, LED lights in the front of it. It's got red, wide rim wheels on it with white walls.
We've just tried to say that 4 times.
4 times. And look at this pickup back on it. That is super cool.
That is really cool.
And the Saab 900 Turbo. I borrowed one of these as a 17-year-old lad because my dad's business partner had one of them, and took it out with one of my mates and misgeared it and the engine stopped.
Oh dear.
And I thought I was going to get into real trouble, but luckily, being a Saab, it just restarted and we carried on.
I was also going to say another one that Pops did the Beaujolais run in.
He did,
Yeah.
A convertible, that one,
Yeah,
which was a
yeah.
brave choice, I think. So we're at the Footman James Barn Find stand. These are cars that people have recently purchased or discovered, which have been hanging around for a few years.
I think
and
more
ready
than
to go.
a few years.
Well, probably a few more years than that, and off for restoration. So this Austin 7 is one that really took our attention, probably for the wrong reasons.
The wrong reasons. It's an absolute biohazard.
Yeah, the guy bought
Kindly.
it. Well, he bought 2 cars apparently, put them in his garage, and he's unfortunately too old now to restore it. But let's just show you what's inside this. Just look at those seats, probably about 10 mil thick of mould on there. I really don't know where you start with a car
It's like when
this.
you leave a loaf of bread at the back of your fridge or something.
Yeah, disgusting. And actually, with a car like this, it is where do you start, because you really need a home enthusiast to restore it. Not worth a huge amount of money when done, probably 5-6 grand,
Maybe a little
in
bit
tip-top
more, but
condition.
Yeah.
But a lot of money to be spent to get it to a nice state. So what's really interesting this year, Puma's made both Pride of Ownership and Barn Find.
Yeah.
This one been standing out for a good few years. Actually for sale and purchased at the stand today. That was £300,
Yeah.
which is probably not a bad buy for it.
If I had
actually,
the space.
yeah, a roadworthy one is going for about 1,500 quid to 2 grand now. And actually, for a Puma, it doesn't look too bad. The arches are still solid. The only problem I've got with this one, a little bit like the Austin 7, when you go and have a look, it's obviously stood with the door open at some point, because we've actually got moss growing in the seat. But actually, would be a really good detail process to get this to be sparkly again.
I do find it quite amusing, however, that this car could genuinely have better inner sills and outer sills than my car did, and
That's
look
true.
like this.
Absolutely. So here's a car that Ben knows a fair bit about,
Yeah.
because it's actually one of his friends' dad's bought this one.
It's a DB4. It was purchased from Matheson's auctions, and I'd never seen it in the flesh. I'd seen it on social media, but it is quite the project. So fair play to them for taking it on. They've got quite a few projects as well, but I mean, this is a project. But yeah, definitely a project. However, I'm very excited to see how they attack it, because I just have no clue where I'd start.
I don't know where you start, because you come and look at some of the bits on it. Look at this inner wing that is pretty much non-existent at the front. You look at all the edges of the bonnet. I mean, I don't know, unless you reshelled the car, really where you would start, and how much of that engine's salvageable. Does it turn over? Who knows?
But it is low mileage. 37,000.
Doesn't look it though. You even look at things like the bumper, half of it's actually missing. So I hope someone makes reproduction ones of those, because I think they struggle to find an original one.
But I'm excited to see it. I think
It'll be a lovely car when
project. And it will be on the TV as well, so that's fun.
With Matheson's following
Yeah,
it.
with Bangers and Cash.
Nice. Okay, Ben, so XJ
13.
What
What
a
a car.
What a car. I'd have really liked these to actually compete at Le Mans,
I
because
know.
I think they'd have been amazing.
And could you imagine if, you know how they did the reproduction of the XKSS?
Yeah.
Imagine if they did a reproduction one of
Evocation.
these. That would be so cool.
Yeah, I think they might struggle on the road with them a bit.
Yeah, maybe. But you're thinking too practically.
But actually, what happened to Norman Dewis test driving this, and the reason that it didn't go to Le Mans in the end, was actually similar to what killed Ken Miles in the GT40.
Yeah.
Obviously mid-engined, sitting in there, really tight little cockpit. And look at that, even utilising E-Type rear lights on it.
And I love seeing the real version at Gaydon. That's always a highlight for me.
Well, I think there is only one real version, or maybe two.
Yeah, I don't know, but either way.
There's a few evocations, but they are very, very good evocations that complete copies. So as you know, we like cars of all ages, and this one's lovely, the Austin Swallow stand. So basically, what they did at the time was bought an Austin 7 chassis and engine, and Swallow then
sort of made it luxury, if you like.
They did, yeah. It was the posh version.
It's almost like a coach-built version, I guess, in a sense.
And if you look at some of the styling cues on the Austin 7, where all the suspension would have been exposed, on the Swallow, you can see they enclose it all, streamline it all more within there. It's got this lovely rounded nose on it. And obviously Swallow then later merged with Swift.
Yeah.
And Swift became Swallow and Swift and Swallow,
cars.
Which then became
Jaguar.
SS. Then became
SS,
Jaguar.
But then Jaguar, yeah.
And probably the nicest one on the stand. Absolutely beautifully restored, this one, in pale and mid-blue, with a dark blue hood on it. Gorgeous. So there you go, guys. Practical Classics Restoration Show 2025 coming to an end. Been an absolutely fantastic show. Some great cars, some great car clubs here. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you soon.